The computer needs the sensors in order to take decisions. For the computer, it's impossible to take decisions about increase the RPMs, decrease the RPMs, increase the amount of fuel, decrease the amount of fuel, if the sensors never send the appropriate signal. Yes, the sensor is a vital component in the harness. At the end of the day, the harness is composed by the computer, the wires, the cable, the harness, the terminals, and the sensors. Yeah, this is a system, it's a complete system that administrates the engine. There are sensors with two terminals. Those sensors work in some cases with gauge. One terminal is ground and the other terminal is the signal. Normally, doesn't matter which terminal you select. You can select one for ground and the other one for signal. Those sensors can be used for the gauge or for the computer. Those sensors receive signal from the computer. The sensors with two terminals. I recommend try to prepare tools to check the sensors. Let me explain something. Normally, the majority of the sensors can be checked in two ways. The first way is when the engine is off. When the engine is off, the majority of the sensors can be checked with resistance, with ohms. You remove the plug of the sensor and, for example, throttle position sensor. We remove the plug from the throttle body and we connect my multimeter in ohms in both terminals of the sensor. What happens if the sensor is three terminals? You identify which is ground and which is the signal. Okay, in between signal and ground, you connect your multimeter in ohms and you move the flap of the throttle body and you verify if the resistance goes up and down, increase and decrease. I don't have the manual, I don't know how much should be. Doesn't matter. The only that you need is verify if the resistance increase, in wide open throttle decrease. Okay, it's working. This engine that you removed 5 minutes ago, this engine is a great opportunity to explain the tool that you prepare to check sensors and terminals.
So how I made this harness, and like I said, this is each individual makes their own harness. I made mine like this so I can put my meters in there to test for power, continuity, grounds through there. And so what I do is this system here is you break the system apart.
Okay, this is for the injector specifically.
And then you can do this is put this in line. So you never interrupt the system.
Correct. The system continue over there and you have access to connect your multimeter over there. That's perfect. That's perfect because the system is running, the engine is running, and you can verify the voltage. You can verify in this particular engine if the injector is receiving 55 volts from the computer.
Correct.
55 volts intermittent.
So, yes, it's controlled by the computer again.
Exactly the same. It's the same you can do with the rest of the sensors.
Oh yeah, I have more. I have them for almost every different thing.
But let me explain, guys. This is part of the harness. This is part of the harness. You cut the harness. You cut the harness and you install those three terminals.
Yeah. I cut the harness and just splice them in so I can test it.
Incredible. This is a great opportunity when you visit a marina, and if you found that harness, if you have found that harness on the garbage, collect those harness because this is gold for you. This is money for you. If you have this tool, you can solve millions of problems. If you are a good technician, you need prepare those terminals for the different type of engine that you are working, no?
Yeah, we have them for different motors. I mean, this is just this particular motor.
Correct.
Remember, being a technician, time is money, okay? And having the right tool gets the job right correctly and done quickly. So by making these harnesses, it's not like you can buy these harnesses. This is harness that you have to make yourself. But there's so much value to them because you can do so much testing so much quicker than you would if you were just going by the book.
If you have clear the engine, the harness, if you have the oil sample report, if you have the coolant sample report, you can solve it any problem in the engine. You don't need visit the boat probably if you have the oil sample report and you have this table, the table related with the oil sample. You can analyze each metal, each element dispersed in the oil, and you can identify where is the problem. Also, if you have the coolant sample report and you have this table, you can analyze each element, each contaminant, each additive, and you can identify where is the problem. Yes, my friend, you can buy those tables properly laminated in my web page, in my Facebook. This is a great information. And also, if you have the table related with the codes, that table, you can identify where is the symptom, the consequence, the solutions, what type of codes are related with each sensor. This is a perfect table. Those 3 tables are available in my web page, in my Facebook. We are going to start with the first one, with the coolant temperature sensor, and we are going to verify the symptoms. What are the symptoms when that sensor have a check engine light working? Okay, symptoms. Coolant temperature sensor. What is the first symptom? Of course, overheating. Overheating. Detonations. Ba 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 ba. Misfiring. Loss of power, of course. Loss of power. Knocking. Misfiring. Backfiring or stalling. Those are the most common symptoms for coolant temperature sensor codes. What are the codes normally related with coolant temperature sensor? Okay, PO 115, 116, 117, 118, 128, and P2 185. And those are DTC codes, marine codes, in some marine scanners. But those are the most common codes related with coolant temperature sensor. Once again, my friends. Oh, I am going to replace the coolant temperature sensor. No. 98% of the time, the problem is not on the sensor, in that specific case. What is the cause? For what reason? Probably, once again, in this moment we are talking about coolant temperature sensor problems. Probably you have background. Background, my friends, is always in all the possibilities for the different type of sensors. Background is the most common problems related with engines. Doesn't matter if the engine is marine or agricultural or any type of engines. Background is a very common source of problems. Inappropriate coolant, don't forget, use the coolant recommended by the manufacturer. That's mandatory, that's important. Wrong thermostat, that's possible. Clogged heat exchanger or radiator. Issues with the coolant pump or circulating pump or freshwater pump. Or problem with the raw water pump also, it's very common. Bad oxygen sensor, bad expansion cap, probably the radiator cap or expansion tank is bad. How you know if that cap is damaged? When the engine is running at operational temperature, you see a little amount of vapor, steam coming out through the cap. In other words, the cap don't close properly, don't seal appropriately. Leaks of the coolant. My friends, I explained in the chapter dedicated to cooling system. If you have a leak, your problems start. If you have a leak, you have intrusion of air. If you have intrusion of air, you have vapor. If you have vapor, you have problems.